Welcome back to Third Take. You've heard a lot of us the last couple of weeks, probably. No, it's going to come out a couple days after each other. Round 3, baby. We don't want to do this, but we're doing it for science.
I want to do round 3. I don't know what you're talking about.
You came in being like, I want to fucking do this.
I didn't
I'm
say
so
that.
fucking tired.
All I said was I'm tired, but I'm ready to record. That's all I said.
Well, let's just jump into it.
Pitter patter, let's get at her.
Yeah, let's get through this.
Pick 65. I really should have known that.
Yeah.
that
was dumb.
Yeah, that's some rough math. But I'm gonna take Justin E. I usually will. I will usually both of us. We're good at attempting to say the name. I'm gonna be honest. I have no fucking clue. It has
we're just gonna call him Justin
Bama. You know, but the first time I read it, I saw an E-O-G, and then I saw an H, and then I kind of gave up while I was reading it. And I think it ends E or I-E. I really don't know. But Justin, very good Senior Bowl. That's where I first kind of saw him. He was winning left and right there. He's 6'4", 295. Little bit of a tweener, mostly just a 3-tech, which is kind of what I'm going to ask him to do in Carolina, but their edges are so bad that we'll probably put him out there to edge a little bit. He has a very nice swim. Like I said, great Senior Bowl. He's very solid in run D, can move around the D-line. He's got a really good punch. He's very good against the run and just anchoring at the line of scrimmage. The motor never stops with this guy, which is something you love to see, especially when you're asking him to play a couple positions. And there's not too much outside of Derek Brown on this D-line, and I think he can help out big time there. He has a really good spin as well. He's very good on stunts. He always is hand fighting, and he pushes the pocket back consistently. He really jumps off on film. This is one of the guys that I just did not expect to be as good as he was. And he's my D-tackle, I think, 6 or 5 right now. Him, Mekhi Wingo, and Leonard Taylor are all kind of in the same tier. They do different stuff well. But I really like Justin Bama. I think he's a beast. And this is really good value for him at 65. And Carolina really needs the help on the D-line, and I think it's a good pick.
Okay, here at 66, the Arizona Cardinals, they're going to get some D-line help. I'm pretty sure this is their first defensive pick. No, Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
First defensive line pick, though. I'm taking Rook, Aurora, something like that. There's a lot of
We just had
O's.
the 2 hardest names go back to back.
There's 1, 2, 3. There's 4 O's in there.
Yeah.
Rook from Clemson, 6'4", 290, really good power, keeps his feet moving, has a really good swim move, creates a good amount of pressure. He lets guys get to his pads, get a grip on him. When he gets doubled, he's a lot like Christian Boyd, but Christian Boyd I think is a lot more upside. He wins with pure speed. He's a great athlete for his size. He's a very raw run defender. He sometimes insta-sheds, and he looks disgusting, and then other times he'll just get washed to the outside. But overall, I like him as a developmental pick here for Arizona. I think he's a NFL-ready pass rusher with he needs refinement. He just needs to develop defense in the run defense, because sometimes he'll get in the backfield, he'll look great. Other times he'll just get washed immediately. But overall, Rook, he'll just be a good guy that you can plug in the middle. Like Arizona, you're not ready to win now yet. So develop him for 2 years, and I think he'll be a very solid defensive lineman for you.
Pick 67, we got the Washington Commanders on the clock. And I'm going to take Jatavion Sanders from Texas here. Really slid in this one. Should not be here. But
he is.
Yeah, he is indeed here. But from Texas, 6'4", 243. Very explosive for his size. He's a big-time threat over the middle and over the seam. He's an run blocker. I think that's the best way to describe it is...
He's a good chipper.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of reps where when I was watching him, I was like, he kind of sucks at this. Then he'd do something once in a while, and I'd be like, that's not that bad, but he's not really good at it. You don't really want him blocking that much. He's really shit in pass pro. As a run blocker, he's functional. He can get in the way. And I mean, you shouldn't drop your tight end in pass pro like that much, but Texas did it a few times, and it was no bueno. He also fumbled versus Alabama, so I mean, I promise he does some stuff well. That was just what was first. He can play out of the slot as well, which is good. He's pretty good. He's very good after the catch. That's kind of his best attribute, and he's really good against out in space, against corners. Good matchup on linebackers as well as most tight ends that are quick are. Honestly, now that I'm reading my notes, they really aren't as positive as I thought. So maybe this kind of is about his range, because I do like him a lot as like a seam threat, but I don't really think he's a complete tight end. He's not like a great route runner. It's kind of just seam stuff and then short after the catch routes like drags and like you don't really see him doing too many. I mean, tight ends in general don't really have crazy route trees unless you're Brock Bowers, but I think he can run the routes that's asked of him, and most of the time you just want him attacking space in the middle of the field, or you just want him short and you can dump it off to him and let him work after the catch. So I think in that role he'll be pretty good. And in Washington, I mean, all they have is Zach Ertz, so they're going to be relying on him for that. And I do think this is a good pick here.
Okay, here at pick 68 of the New England Patriots back on the clock, and he's not going to be here in the actual draft, but he fell here just because of our rankings. I'm taking Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. He's 6'7", 328, big frame. He's a great athlete. He can sometimes protect the corner on an island, but listen, he is extremely raw. He had a great Senior Bowl. His stock really went up. He went up to I saw in a lot of people like a top 5 tackle for them.
I've seen him above Mims. Yeah.
So, but he's a big football guy. He listens to his coaches. He's super coachable, which I think is his best asset. He just needs to improve technique wise. He needs to improve in the run game. But he has a strong anchor. Sometimes. He's very hit or miss when I watched him. He was either, that's the best fucking rep I've ever seen, or that is not.
There's a lot more of those.
Yeah, that is not what I love to see. He has great grip strength, and he recovers really well. That's what, just where his pure athlete comes in, which is a lot like another guy, but less. He does it less almost. But yeah, just because of the athlete, he's able to recover very well. This is a development pick for the Patriots. I trust them to develop a tackle. They usually do that pretty well. Hopefully he's starting by week 7, around there, midway through the season. But Tyler Guyton here, it's a great value pick. He's not going to be here in the real draft, but for us in our rankings, he is going to be here, and it's just a good development pick for the Patriots.
All right, Chargers pick 69 on the clock here. We're going receiver again because it's so bad after they cut Keenan.
Was Keenan traded when we made the last one? I think so.
Yeah, it was last night. Before we already made fun of it. But I'm going to take Jalen Polk from Washington here. He's way better than this pick. I'm a big Polk guy. I think he's my wide receiver 10, 11. An 11 is pretty high praise in this class.
No, legit. I think Troy Franklin's where I stopped thinking they could be ones, and that's around 13.
Yeah.
So I think
I don't know if I'm Polk can be a 1. I think he's a good 2.
He's gonna be
that's
a
what
very
he is
good
here.
2.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean.
There's 2 to 3 guys you can debate that can be ones.
Yeah. I have Ladd at 10. I don't think Ladd's a 1.
I think Ladd's a 1.
Okay. But Jalen Polk, 6'2", 205, really good size, big-time jump ball guy. He's a legit deep threat, very solid blocker as well, which you love to see out of your receiver. I don't really think he separates, super well, but with that jump ball ability, it doesn't matter too much. It's kind of like Keon Coleman in that sense. I do think he can improve as a route runner as well. I think he's solid, but I don't think it's great. I think he's good after the catch as well. He beats press well. Like I said, it's weird because on the sideline, I think he does a great job with his body control and stuff, but I don't feel like he really gets that much separation over the middle and on slants and digs and stuff. But as an outside receiver who you're kind of just going to give fades, posts, deep stuff, comebacks, all that, I think he works very well in that role. And with him and Malik as your 1 and 2, with Josh Palmer, and you can play Polk in the slot as well, which I think the Chargers would probably opt to do in this scenario and have Josh Palmer as the second outside. But all of a sudden, you wish you had Keenan Allen, but with these 2 picks, you've kind of turned that frown upside down there, and you have a young, promising receiving core. And I think, they're going to have to go multiple receivers early just after cutting Keenan. So I think this is a pretty... Not that I don't think Polk will be here at this pick, but I think 2 receivers in the first 3 rounds is pretty realistic for the Chargers.
Okay, here at 70, I'm going to be taking Bo Nix for the Giants. Listen, I know that QB room is an absolute shit show with Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, Tommy Cutlets, and now Bo Nix. But Tommy Cutlets could get cut any day. He might just not make the roster.
Literally all of them could be gone next year.
Yeah, exactly. So might as well get a guy in there. Bo Nix from Oregon, 6'2", 216. He has a good arm, puts some zip on the ball. He throws off balance and back foot throws, which he does make them, but also, want to know who else did that? Mac Jones, and I saw that in person. So
he did.
He suffers / benefits from a screen heavy and short route system. What I mean by that is he does benefit stat wise from that system, but he also isn't able to show off like his arm talent or his mobility or some of the arm angles like all the time. He's not able to show that off as much. So it comes positive and negative. His deep ball accuracy is really good. He's great throwing on the run. He's really good when throwing down the field, mostly towards the sideline. I saw he was very good at. When he is pressured, his accuracy suffers. Like he'll miss. He'll sometimes just flat out miss a guy, just due to pressure. His accuracy can definitely get better. Can move outside the pocket and run for a couple of yards. He's not mobile or anything, but he's just a good outside the pocket quarterback. Like he can run for he could get a 15-yard gain if it's wide open, but you're looking at like a 3rd and 3. He can roll out and dive for it. He needs to make improvements to his accuracy overall, but he can make plays outside the pocket, and I think he has a good amount of potential. He got a lot of hate, especially from me and Martin, I think the first time around.
Yeah, we've both been on the Bo Nix train for a while since.
So, but it was since I watched Troy Franklin, is really when I was like, hey, he might not be that bad. And he was QB4. JJ's starting to overtake him just because he has more tools than Bo.
I have JJ4 now.
But it's mid on mid. Like you could you can make an argument for both. But Bo Nix here, I think is a good pick for the Giants.
Pick 71, we got the Arizona Cardinals, and I'm going to take the other guy on the South Dakota State left side. I'm going to take Mason McCormick. He's 6'5", 315, very good size for a guard. Really great run blocker. He's super physical, absolutely mauls guys. Very good puller out in space, too. He had a really impressive combine and Shrine Bowl in general. Just both of those really put the athleticism on display for him. He's got a good anchor. He does lunge sometimes. He's got that nasty streak. You get a ton of pancakes in his run blocking film. Consistent movement, all that stuff. Really good gap scheme guy, which that's what the Cardinals love to do with James Conner there. So it's a good scheme fit. He works combo blocks well. He kind of misses his target in space when he's pulling a couple times. Even though he is good overall in space, just there was a couple times where I was like, can you just hit him on the move, bro? But he is a little bit of a lunger, but he's also a very good reach blocker. Overall, just great run blocker. Very solid anchor and in pass protection. Doesn't really get moved back much. When he does, he's good about giving ground slowly. Uses his hands well. Just another guy who's a really solid guard prospect. There's not much wrong with him other than the lunging, which is kind of just him being over aggressive, and you can just tell him to chill out a little bit, stay back, stay on his feet, and he should be totally fine. I'm pretty confident he's going to be a good NFL player, and he'll slot in nicely at left guard for the Cardinals here.
Okay, here the Jets are picking at 72. Now, these mock drafts being put over a week long.
Yeah, it's kind of a sell.
It's a little bit of a sell because we didn't know what teams would address on free agency. And last night, the Jets got Tyron Smith, and then they traded for Morgan Moses.
Tackles are looking good.
So tackles are good, so you definitely could be looking at a receiver. If Rome falls, I could see a Brian Thomas Jr., A.D. Mitchell I'm really high on. But I'm going to fix that here, and I'm going to take Jermaine Burton from Bama. He's 6 foot, 194. He has easy speed. He's really fast. Long strides. Runs by defenders with ease. Great ball tracking. He has his great late hands, which people who have played receiver know that's what you need. You need late hands so they don't knock it down. Really good mid-air adjustments. Sideline awareness. He makes a ton of contested catches. His big thing is character stuff. I forget. He was a transfer,
not a
correct?
good guy. Yeah, Georgia transferred to Bama.
Yeah, he's not a great guy. He doesn't seem very coachable.
Well, he hit the girl, like, walking off the field.
Yeah.
He, like, straight up, like, punched her in the face.
Yeah. He's also...
Were you just not going to talk about that?
Listen. I found that out, like, 2 weeks ago, so maybe just keep... try to do my service and try to help him out a little bit. But he's not...
We gotta
he's an
tell
asshole.
the people
He's
everywhere.
an asshole. But he's been seen screaming at coaches on the sideline. Like, he needs a lot of shit figured out, and hopefully he can grow up.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is really going to help him grow up.
I was going to say, is the Jets the place for a receiver to grow up? I don't think so. But the talent speaks for itself. He's not great post-catch, but his speed is deadly when allowed, like, a runaway. Like, what I mean by that is not good, great post-catch. It's just, he's not really shifty. Like, this kid could be an easy second-round pick, talent-wise, but just off-the-field shit and just mental stuff is just going to allow him to slide a little bit. But he attacks the blind spots really well, and he has great release and off coverage. He struggles a little bit in press, but, like, it's either he gets pressed at the line or see a 15-yard gain on a streak. Like, it's one of the two. But overall, he has a great high potential. I think he could be a great 2 on a team. And obviously behind Garrett Wilson, you're going to be a great 2. And the Jets, I feel like wide receiver has, up until now, been looked at as, they're all set. But really, kind of have, other than Garrett Wilson, their wide receiver core kind of sucks. So Burton can inject some life into that offense here with the Jets.
Pick 73, we got the Lions on the clock. I'm going to keep the Michigan kid in Michigan with Zach Zinter here. Also, another big mass guy, North Andover.
Big mass guy.
But he's 6'6", 322, big boy. He's got 33.5-inch arms, which is very good length for a guard. Big-time gap scheme run blocker. He's a very good run blocker. I mean, that's what that Michigan offense did. Everyone on that line can run block. And that's what he's going to be doing in Detroit here, because Jesus, does Dan Campbell love to run the ball.
At the most inconvenient of times, too.
It's true.
Dan's a gambling man.
He is. But he seals well. He's a good puller, really good down blocker. That's kind of where he makes his money in the run game, is when you get him on the move, just down blocking. He will put you in the dirt. He looks for work, which is something that you love to see. Just when nobody's on him, his head's on a swivel. He's really smart. He's always looking for somebody he can hit. He's got a very good punch. He does a good job keeping his hands inside consistently. And he's got a good anchor. I kind of say it with all of these guys, but another one of these just big physical guards who can play and is just very solid. And especially in Detroit, like, they're running the ball, they're play actioning off of it. This is a really good scheme fit for his skill set. And I think he's definitely a Dan Campbell guy as far as just, the grit and toughness that he plays with. Michigan kid, too. I mean, it's a good fit. And I think him staying in state here would be awesome.
Okay, here at pick 74, for Atlanta, I'm taking Javon Solomon out of Troy. He's 6'2", 249. Amazing speed on the edge. His size does allow him to get swallowed up by bigger linemen, which, he'll either win quick or he'll kind of get swallowed up. So hopefully, if he gains 15 pounds, he'll be fine. He's right around 250, so get him up to 265. I think he'll be fine. Amazing burst off the line, just a little undersized. He has a really nice hezzy move. He does have some really good power for his size. He can really push a guard back with ease on stunts and stuff, but not a tackle every time, which goes into his size and him getting swallowed up. He's a super raw guy, but he has all the tools you want. I've seen him in the backfield quite a bit on run plays. Just a lot of developmental D-line and edge guys are going here because the upside's really good. He had amazing production in college. He had, I think 18 or 19 sacks.
Jesus.
So he had a ton of production, NFL type production. He has a really good spin move as well. Overall, I like Javon Solomon here for Atlanta because I don't think you need him to be good right away, but also like I think year one he could get, he could just be a pass rush specialist year one, and then you just slowly work him in. Because unlike Chop Robinson, he was actually in on third down, third and short. He was actually in there, and on first and second when Chop sometimes wasn't on just run plays. So he's had the experience to stop the run. You see it a little bit, but overall, he's very good. Atlanta's going to be happy with this pick.
76, we got the Bears here. I'm going to take Dominic Pooney from Kansas. We're continuing the interior O-line run here. I'm taking him to play center. I mean, he legit has another guy with all 5 positional versatility. Played tackle at Kansas. Honestly, like, I thought when I was watching him, because he played a lot of guard and center at the Senior Bowl and did really good, I thought I was going to, like, hate his tackle tape, but honestly, his tackle tape is pretty solid. You do kind of see the not ideal length show up a little bit, but he looked really good at center in the practices, and he played a lot of center in the game, too. And that's really what the Bears need, is center, so I'm going to take him to play that here. He's going to be a huge center at 6'4", 325. But, yeah, and this is the thing, is he has 33 and 6/8 arms, which is that's good tackle length. So I think he could do it, and I'm honestly willing to give him a shot at tackle, but he looked good at center, and I do think he is kind of stiff out there at tackle, so I think interior probably is his best bet. But he's always readjusting his hands. He's got an edge to him. This is another guy who generates pretty solidly consistent movement. He's a great mover, good zone blocking guy, which is what Chicago runs. He's got a good anchor. I think he plays too high sometimes. He does have a nice punch. And he's another one of these guys that at tackle oversets and is susceptible to some inside spin counters, but really won't be dealing with that at center. He'll be playing in a phone booth where his anchor can really show off and the hand usage and readjustments. He's going to have to learn all the communication and protections and all that stuff. But he'll be coming in with the rookie quarterback at the same time, so that shouldn't really be a problem. They're going to get rookie minicamp, all that stuff to get that down. And I think he's a good player. I think he's definitely worth this pick. And I think it is a good fit here in Chicago. And it feels like Chicago always has a lot of O-line injuries, and his versatility can really help them out with that when guys go down.
Okay, here at pick 76, Denver might have the most just horrible future I can think of, because they really don't have any talent other than PS2 on the team.
Well, they cut all of it in free agency.
Like, you're paying Russ, what was it, $58 million this year, I think? That's the dead cap they're taking. So you're just going to suck this year. And honestly, it might not be great for this guy's development. I'm taking Michael Penix out of Washington, 6'3", 216. I'm going to pair him and Brock Bowers up because Sean Payton needs his guy, right? I don't think he was thrilled going into the Russell Wilson situation. But Penix, he's QB6 for me. He's fallen quite a bit. He makes all the throws you need him to. He's very accurate. When he is protected, he'll dot you up, which will be an issue if he goes to Denver. Their line is not that good. Yeah. He has good, not amazing zip on the ball. I should say over the middle he doesn't have amazing zip. When it's down the field, he can zip it down the field. He has really good deep ball accuracy when protected. Like, his deep ball accuracy is like, fuck, man, that might be the best in the draft when protected. When he's not protected, it's a whole different quarterback. Under pressure, he's inconsistent as hell. Limited playmaking. He doesn't really do much outside of the pocket. He has some great arm angles. Now, I don't like taking injury into account, but I know NFL teams will take his injury history. But on the bright side, he has 2 full healthy seasons at Washington and the Combine. No news is good news. You didn't really hear a lot about it. So, like, you're banking on the upside. I think the upside is fairly good. It's just he's a little older, a lot of injury history, and then when he's not protected, his accuracy, it gets very inconsistent. Now, under pressure, sometimes he does make good throws. That's what inconsistent means. It doesn't mean it's ass when he's under pressure. But Penix, I think he's just a good piece for Sean Payton that he can move off of in a couple years if he needs to. If there's that next big quarterback prospect, you're not too locked into him with the price being a third-round pick here. But he could turn into something. He could turn into maybe a top 20 quarterback. Nothing crazy. But I like the upside enough to where if you put a good O-line around him, he could dot you up. But he might die his first year in Denver. It's going to be rough because you don't know who he's going to be throwing to. But it's a good pick here. It's good to get your franchise kind of moving over the next 2-3 years where there's a lot of uncertainty.
Pick 77, we got the Raiders on the clock. And I'm going to go running back here to replace Josh Jacobs. I like Zamir White a lot as I want a committee here, though. And I'm going to go Jonathan Brooks from Texas. He's got a very different skill set than White. It's little thunder and lightning. He's your lightning. White's your thunder. But Brooks, he's 6 feet, 207. The main thing with him is just the ACL tear. You got to make sure the medicals check out. But it seems like they will. And the Cowboys team doctor is the guy who did his surgery. So, I mean, you got somebody who's an NFL guy and has a lot of experience with it. So he should be fine. Even then, ACL tears today are not
3-month injury.
Yeah.
Jalen tore it, last week of the preseason, and he was playing in October. So.
Yeah. But with Jonathan Brooks, the main thing is just his speed and vision. I mean, he's got legit home run speed, really good vision. He does fight for extra yards. He's a very solid receiver, super explosive in short areas. He can run through arm tackles. I did see him fumble once, which is something I do not like to see. But solid pass blocker as well. He's not too bad in that. Probably not one of the best, but he can definitely do it. Leg drive doesn't stop. He's an outside zone scheme guy all day, which I don't know. Who is the Raiders OC? I really don't remember.
But who did they sign?
Maybe they're going to try and...
Was it Cliff, or did he go to Washington?
No, I think he went to Washington.
But he was the Raiders OC.
I don't really know who it is, but, every team implements some form of outside zone. So, yeah. Yikes. But every team uses some form of outside zone, and it's not like that's the only thing he can do. He's a very patient runner. He's good with just waiting and then hitting the hole and using that vision to his advantage. Very good at hitting cutbacks as well off of the outside zone. Can put his head down and just get a couple yards too. He's a pretty complete back. He doesn't have the best power back profile compared to somebody like Braylon Allen, but he's got the speed and he's got the vision and he's got enough power to his game. I think him and White can definitely be a good backfield here, and he's definitely worth a third rounder.
Okay, here at 78, the Washington Commanders, they've had a pretty good draft so far. I think they've had 4 picks so far, so they got a lot of picks here, and you're getting another one. And I'm taking Ennis Ragshaw. Sorry, I think I might have mispronounced that a little bit. But he has high potential, and he's a really good tackler, which is good because I think he kind of complements CB16 and Emmanuel Forbes, CB19, whatever Brett had him as. But there's more negatives than I would say positives with him. But his positives are just a good hard-nosed player, and the negatives are they can be fixed. But he gets beat on slants. He does contest the ball. I think some of the things are just fuck, man. I tried. There's the quarterback either fit it in a great spot or the guy just made a better catch. He's a really good tackler, big hitter. He does have inside-outside flexibility. Now, I'm not sure if the guy I liked from Mizzou was the guy that can also be taken in this draft, who's draft eligible, or he's...
You're talking about Chris Abrams-Drain?
Yeah, or it was another guy, because I wasn't paying attention to the jersey numbers, or I didn't look him up before, or it's a guy who's ready next year. But I don't think he's even the second best DB on the team. Doesn't get thrown at. Super physical and press, which sometimes allows him to get too physical down the field. Plays a bunch of zone. He gives up enough separation to where the pass is caught. It's just it's a yard or two where it's fuck, you're right there, but it's enough separation to where the hits right on the ball is not going to cause anything. I'm worried about him trailing on slants and other short routes. He really does get beat on short routes quite a bit, which is not what you love to see. He didn't go to the Senior Bowl due to injury, which could be another reason why he is either going to fall or I didn't like him that much is because he was playing through an injury. That's like a known fact that he was playing through an injury. It doesn't stick out to you. You do have to like. I like when my guys are like, "Fuck, that's him. That's that guy from Mizzou that I heard about," which just didn't happen because half the time I was more impressed with his teammates making plays in the backfield. So
yeah. No, about that, I definitely agree that he didn't really stick out. I I was accidentally watching Chris Abrams train half the time when I was watching Rakestraw.
So we'll see who I was watching because I looked up another guy and I think I might have looked up his name and he's in next year's draft, but I'm not sure. But he takes bad pursuit angles and just bad angles overall. So he has a lot of potential. Just a lot of stuff needs to be fixed with him. And in Washington, like, I think they can fix it. Like, his stuff is very, like, come on, man, just a little bit. If you play a little faster, if you honestly play a little harder, like, he's a great tackler, which will boost him up in boards and stuff. But being at 6'1", 187 as well is not going to help. But as many negatives there are, he is a good deep. He covers well very deep, which you can use. So, like, just hopefully just put him in a deep zone. Don't put him up in man that much. But overall, he's a okay prospect. I wouldn't say he's great. I wouldn't say he's good. But he's a good developmental piece here.
Pick 79, we got the Falcons here. And I'm going to take Michael Hall Jr. from Ohio State, D-tackle. 6'2", 280. He's kind of one of... I wouldn't say he's a tweener because they really didn't have him play edge, but you probably could put him at edge a little bit. But he's a very, very good interior pass rusher. I really like him just as a 3-tech who... The run defense it's actually like more solid than you would think being 280 because he's so good with his hands and he can shed blocks quickly. But when it comes to like absorbing a double team, like, yeah, this is a guy who probably isn't going to do that well for you. But he's got a really good outside swim. He's effective on stunts. Like I said, he uses his hands very well. A lot of quick wins with him at the line, which is kind of exactly what you want from a 3-tech. He translates his speed into power pretty well. Like I said, didn't play a lot on early downs. That's part of that is Ohio State rotating their guys in and out. Part of that is him kind of just being an okay run defender. But like I said, he does, because he's so explosive and good with his hands, he does get TFLs when he's in there. He'll get the splash plays in run defense, but, you know, he's not going to be in there like kind of day in, play in, play out, kind of that saying in there anchoring every time. You're going to want to get him off the field on some of those. But when he is in there, he can at least hold his own. And because he's such a good pass rusher, I'm fine with it. He maybe isn't a 3-down player, but in the 3rd round here, you're just trying to get guys who can play roles. And his role is interior pass rusher, and he's very good at it. So he's well worth this pick.
Okay, so here at pick 80 of the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, this definitely could change in the draft the way this goes with T requesting a trade. Like, I could see them waiting on tackle till round 2 and then picking a receiver. Because we've picked Fatanu and then Malik Washington. I'm going to go back to the O-line here, and I'm going to pick Jordan Morgan from Arizona. 6'6", 320. Creates push and run blocking. He creates a lot of push. He's good balance. Picks up stunts and blitzes really well. He doesn't lunge a lot. Puts guys in the dirt extremely well. He does struggle to block on inside plays. Just when I don't mean inside runs because that would be a very big issue if he struggled to block on inside runs. But it's just plays where the pass rusher is going to his inside shoulder. That's where he struggles. Quick feet, great patience, pancakes in the run game. There's a ton of them. He's like a brick wall. Really good anchor. And then he gets to the second level really well. He's just fallen this far because he's not a tackle, and then he hasn't played guard yet, so you don't really know what you're getting with him. But from what I saw from Jordan Morgan at tackle, he was just a really good run blocker who had a great solid anchor. It's just he doesn't have the length to play in the NFL, which is why he's going so late. But I really like Jordan Morgan as a prospect. I could see him going as high as the second round, mid-second round. And this is probably as low as I could see him falling. I think a team is going to take a good shot on him because he's just a good player. So a team will take a shot on that. But overall, I really like Jordan Morgan.
Yeah, dude. About Morgan, I just wish like they put him at guard at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I only saw him play tackle, and I'm like, all right, like, no offense to you, bro, but you measured under, like, he had 32. I think it was
Yeah.
like 32 and 7/8. But if you're under 33, like, I'm
You
good.
can't play tackle.
Yeah, like you just can't. So I don't know why they didn't really put him at guard, but maybe they did, and I'm just tripping. But I don't remember him playing it there. Pick 81, we got the Seahawks on the clock, and this was a very easy pick for me because they cut all their safeties.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Javon Bullard from Georgia, the other Georgia safety, and I think he's very good as well. He's my safety 3. 5'11", 195, kind of just prototypical safety size there. I think he has good range and ball skills, good tackler. He plays a lot of too high, which is what he's probably going to be doing in the NFL, so that's good and translatable. He's a physical tackler and hitter. He's got the athleticism to play single high as well. I think he can do that. He plays the ball well. He's just very solid. I think he can do some man. I think he can play man coverage on tight ends and running backs as well and do a good job in that. He just looks good in general. Another one of these guys. I mean, he plays Georgia defense, so I mean, he can't be ass, right?
No, he can't.
So it's like, but another one of these Georgia players that's just very sound. I mean, they're well coached. Yeah, good ball skills, good tackler. Really no problems in his game whatsoever. The only thing is maybe he's not like the most explosive athlete as far as his range. I think it's good, but I think a lot of that is him making up for some of it with anticipation skills and stuff, which there's nothing bad about that. I mean, if you just know where the ball is going, you don't have to haul ass as quickly to get there. So I think Javon Bullard's a very good player. He might be safety 1 in Seattle because they really don't have anybody else. But yeah, he's a good player, and it's a good pick.
Okay, here at 82, the Indianapolis Colts. I kind of don't know what to do here, to be honest. You have like a good O-line, but you could develop some guys. You have like a good D-line, but like you could also pick some guys. So. And there's no edges here that I'm confident in taking. Like, I'm not confident in Chop yet. Like, I'll take him maybe back end of the third. But so here, I'm just going to take a compliment to JT. I'm taking Bucky Irvin out of Oregon, 5'10", 194. Super shifty, amazing juke move. He has really good acceleration. He didn't have the greatest combine.
What did he run?
I don't know.
Remember.
It wasn't anything like that stood out.
Yeah.
But on film, he's really fast. I think it might be a Keon Coleman situation where, like, game speed, he's just way better. Like, he has really good acceleration. He has a great burst at the line. That's what I really first saw, is that he gets up to his top speed very quickly. Really good spin move. He bounces off tacklers. Like, he's a really hard runner. Fights for hard yards. He has that dog mentality. Like, he has that, like, small dog, like, barking at a Rottweiler or a pit bull type mentality. He is 5'10", 194, so that would be the case. He finds gaps. He's good. He's really patient. His yards after contact is really good. Juke move is like Madden 20. Juke moves. That's what I saw. It's just you have Saquon Barkley and you put jukebox on him in Madden 20 and just watch him go. Really good balance. Stays on his feet. Quick feet. He can run some people over. Now he ain't gonna run over some 300-pound defensive lineman, but he'll run over a corner. He'll run over. Yeah, he'll just run over a corner. Not really a safety. And like I said, he has the dog mentality. I love Bucky Irvin. He's another one of my guys here. It's just that this running back class just kind of sucks. And so I think teams are just going to be like, we can get him later, and it's just going to push him down.
It's not that they're bad. It's just like everybody can play a role. Mm-hmm. But you're like, you kind of think to yourself, like you said, it's like, if I don't take him here, what's the drop off to the guy in the next round? And a lot of the time, it's like, there's really not that much.
No. So, yeah. Bucky Irvin, he's a good player.
Pick 83, we got the LA Rams. We talked about him earlier. I'm going to take Chris Abrams-Drain here, the other Mizzou corner. 5'11", 178. He's light,
Jesus.
but he is fast. He has good ball skills with that size, though. I mean, as you would expect, questionable tackler at best. He's an off-man guy. Doesn't really have the strength to press there. I think he's probably a slot, but he did play some outside corner. Like I said, needs to work more on the tackling. A lot of it is not even the size. He just takes really shitty angles. So if you can teach him that, it'll be better. But as far as coverage, he plays hip to hip. Definitely kind of more of a zone guy, but can play some off man for you as well. I think he's kind of just a decent corner prospect. I'm not in love here or anything, but the Rams depth chart is they brought Darius Williams back and they have Darion Kendrick, and that's about it right now. So they definitely need some corner help. I think he could maybe be a decent slot for them. And I think you take that in round 3 with their cornerback needs. This is kind of one of the picks that I wasn't too sure what to do with. Thought about going D-tackle after Aaron Donald retired, but, you're not going to replace the greatest defender ever in the 3rd round. So I think we're just going to try and help out the secondary here a little bit.
Okay, here at pick 84 for Pittsburgh, I'm going to take Patrick Paul out of Houston. He's 6'7", 315. He's a really tall tackle, and we're going to get into why that's a negative for him. He has elite size and length, good in pass protection, uses the hug technique, which I found out from this guy, that it looks like a flag.
It looks like holding. It's not.
It's technically not, but damn it, it might get called.
Yeah.
His technique results in him getting a lot of I'm sorry, that's what I meant. The hug technique, he uses it a little too much, which could lead to penalty problems and just blatant holding calls.
It also just leads to guys getting into your chest.
Yeah, no.
Because it's exactly what it sounds
habit.
like. It's a hug.
Yeah.
So
it's
they're
just
right
going to be
there.
a bad habit for
And when
him.
you're somebody who's 6'7" with elite arm length, keep them away from you.
Yeah.
It's like boxing. You have the length advantage. You want to keep them away from you.
That's what DeJuan Jones did so well.
Yeah, he's, to me, I don't really get why he uses hugs so much, because somebody like Troy Fatanu could benefit from that. Where, although he does have long arms, but you know what I mean, like a tackle, if Jordan Morgan somehow sticks at tackle, you see him use hug tech, and it makes a lot of sense for him because he doesn't have the arm length to keep somebody at bay, but Paul's arm length is his best attribute, and he really doesn't use it, which is really frustrating to watch.
But also, just get a good O-line coach in there and coach him up. He's a super experienced prospect. He has good athletic ability and quickness. He brings a chippy play personality and finishes through the whistle. He exposes his chest and has a potency to hold defenders due to late hand placement, which you don't love to see. Doesn't play to his strength, like Martin said, with the arm length. It is frustrating, but also, when I first watched him, and it could be from lack of watching guys, but I at least thought he was, back into the first round.
I put him top 20 in ours. I was a big Patrick Paul guy, and then I saw the anchor at the Senior Bowl, and I was like...
And you just hope, that was a bad day, but also, I saw him
he
win
won
one rep all
week.
week.
Yeah,
That's what I wrote down here. He had a horrible Senior Bowl. You hope, maybe it was, he was just sick or he was off his game or something, bring that up. But I think with the right coaching, smack him into shape, maybe just have him sit for half a year and just let him develop. Because I think that's all he needs. All he needs is to be like, hey man, you're fucking 6'7", block like it. And that's really all he needs, and I think he could be a first-round type prospect you're getting here in the 3rd. So Patrick Paul, I think, is a very good pick here for Pittsburgh.
All right, pick 85. We got the Browns here. I'm going to go Cedric Gray, linebacker from UNC.
Hey, back-to-back Cedrics in drafts. Cedric Tillman.
Yeah.
Cedric Gray.
Look at that.
Fun little storyline.
Yeah. 6'1", 232. Very good Senior Bowl game. Had 6-7 tackles. That's really where I noticed him. The practices for linebackers are pretty useless.
And running backs.
Yeah,
running backs actually might be more useless.
No, and the running backs was even more useless because they didn't even do the pass protection drill this year with the linebackers, and that's the only translatable thing.
No, it's just they're the middle child who's just sent over there.
Yeah.
To go have the fucking scraps. I'm pretty sure Trevor and Connor were just the running backs were overdoing their own thing with, the bags and stuff, doing jack shit.
Yeah.
Like, the running back for the Senior Bowl is just a nice trip down to Alabama.
No,
like,
it really
that's
is.
That's all it is.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's a nice trip down to Alabama, but
Depending on if they're a white running back or not.
yeah, I bet Dylan Loudby
Yeah.
had a great time.
Where are you from? New Hampshire.
He visited the Grand Wizard.
Yeah.
Oh shit. He's an absolute missile coming downhill. I think he is the best blitzer in the class by far because he actually, like a lot of linebackers, they don't use their hands. He actually has hand usage and can do like a swim move and rip and all that stuff. So he's a great blitzer. He has really good play recognition. He had 2 TFLs on screens that I watched that he just sniffed out instantly. He also, along with Junior Colson, he's not as good as Colson at it, but he's a guy who can take on a guard when he's pulling. He can get around him too. He did miss a couple tackles on film. Overall, secure tackler. But I think Cleveland's a good situation for him. They let Anthony Walker go. Obviously, you have JOK there.
And Taki, new Patriot.
Yeah, and they let him go. They signed Devin Bush on a flyer deal, but this is just another guy to the room there who you can... That's probably your 3 starting linebackers and your 4-3 there. Cedric Gray's just one of these guys who... third rounder, they happen every year. There's going to be a bunch this year. There always is. Just guys who, they play their role and they do it well. And he's solid in coverage. It's not his strong suit, but he can definitely do it. He's better than Devin Bush in coverage. So
that's very easy to do.
True. But he can cover a little bit. He can do it. Good blitzer. I mean, he's a pretty complete player. Maybe the coverage isn't as good as you want. If it was better, he'd be higher, but good player, and he's going to play a good role on this very good Cleveland defense.
Okay, Houston here at 86. I'm going to take Chop Robinson here out of Penn State, 6'3", 250. You can afford a luxury pick here because of Danielle Hunter. And honestly, who are the other guys that they signed? Danielle Hunter, what's their D-line looking like?
I don't think they signed another edge. They lost lost Sheldon Rankins and Malik Collins, which is no
And in this draft, they got Mekhi Wingo. You have Will Anderson. He's a very good pass rush specialist right out the gate. Insane speed on the edge, has a great dip under. He's a small size for edge rusher. He's just undersized. There's really nothing else to it.
Short arms, too.
Short arms. Size allows him to get pancaked quite a bit, especially like you saw early on them experimenting him with run game against with him in the run game like against West Virginia and Iowa.
Yeah, early in the season.
Yeah, and then you slowly saw them be like, he's fucking horrible. And
as the season went on, you just saw less and less like first and second down snaps for Chop.
No, I think the Iowa games were like, he's fucking ass, because he started off and I'm like, he's dog shit, and then I think as I was watching, I just slowly saw him getting picked off the field. He gets in the backfield though with that pure speed. Good, not great power. That's where the size comes in. Doesn't use his hands. He's not good in the trenches. Run defense needs a ton of work. Right now, he's just a pass rush specialist. I like to compare him to Josh Uche. I think he's a more athletic Josh Uche though. He definitely has more burst than Uche does. He's younger.
Uche's way more technically sound, though.
Yeah, that is true. But once again, I think right out the gate, he's going to be like a 4-5 sack guy. You just put in on third down and you hope he wins. But then as you progress, you hope like he can get solid on run defense. So you can just put him on first and second down. But I think what he could become, his high is Josh Uche's 2022 season where he's a pass rush specialist. He's technically sound, and he gets 12 sacks for you. His low end is he's not getting a second contract from Houston. He fucking sucks. He's like just a 3-sack guy, and you can't put him on the field on first and second down. Penn State, I saw him, I think it was one of the full game highlights. I saw him literally be in the huddle on a 3rd and 3 and get pissed off when they pulled him off the field against Iowa. They pulled him for obvious reasons. And then I just put in at the end, like he's just pass rush specialist. But Chop Robinson, obviously he's not worth the hype he's getting, but for a team that already has good run defenders and good pass rushers, like Houston does with Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, he's just a good third down pass rush specialist type guy for them, who they can hope to develop. I trust D'Amico to develop him too.
We got the Cowboys on the clock. We were thinking about running back, but Tyron Smith left. You literally do not have a left tackle. That's more important than running back. I'm going to take Delmar Glaze from Maryland. He should have been gone a long time ago. He's
My
very
bad,
good.
guys.
No, it's not your fault. But him and Jeremy Flax are I actually have Jeremy Flax higher than him, but I just don't trust him at he's never played left tackle. Glaze has, so I'm going with him here. They're close for me. 6'4", 323, has 34 and 4/8 arms, and for some reason it is listed at interior. I don't really get that one, but he has very solid hand usage. I think he has a good anchor. He uses his length well to wash guys outside. I think the thing with him is he's a fine run blocker. I don't think he's great. I don't think he has the nasty streak to him like some of these other guys, but he is a solid zone run blocker, or fine, and that's good enough. He gets his hands inside consistently. He had a very solid Senior Bowl where he did take a lot of guard reps, but I just want him at tackle here. The only time he got beat was he had one a little shaky anchor and 2 inside counter moves. I think that was against Michigan though, so some slack gets cut there, but he, like I said, doesn't generate that much movement at the line. Really not a great run blocker, kind of just fine there. He works his combo blocks well though. He's good out in space. He gets to the second level well, and he can pick up stunts. Very smart player. He lost another rep to like a wide 9 technique against speed. That's just kind of a tough angle. So maybe that is why some people want to move him into guard, but he's got the arm length. I want to give him a shot at tackle here. And I think he is overall a very solid pass protector who's kind of just okay as a run blocker, which is why he's a little bit lower in my rankings. But I do think he's a good player, and I think he could definitely be a solid, dependable starting left tackle for Dallas.
Okay, here, Green Bay at pick 88. I'm taking Cooper Bebe, the fat fuck, as Trevor likes to call him, at 6'4", 335. He is a thick build.
Yeah.
Really thick build, firm anchor against the bull rush, good quickness on redirects. He looks to hit someone when he isn't lined up on anyone in pass pro, which you like to see. Picks up stunts, really good processing skills. He has short arms, so his strike comes late. He just... Like, he doesn't let them get into his pads, but he doesn't get to their pads quick enough, which is an issue. He does step under himself, which does leave him behind his man in the run game, which you don't like to see. But overall, I think he's just a solid player that the Packers can just develop for a year or two, and then he'll just be a starter. Kind of like what the Patriots do with guard late in rounds. Just like, hey, we'll develop you, and you'll be our starter in, like, 3 years. But Cooper Bebe, I think, is just a good, solid player here for the Packers that they can throw. That they can throw in at guard, who I think is just going to be their guard of the future. He's just good. Trevor gives him a lot of shit just for being fat. But he had really good film. I liked what I watched. Overall, just a good player.
All right, pick 89. We got the Tampa Bay Bucks on the clock. And I'm going to go running back here. I'm going to get a compliment to Rachaad White, and I'm going to take Blake Corum from Michigan. I think this is good value for him. I think he's better than the 89th best player in the class. 5'8", 215, just an absolute bowling ball.
He's built.
He's absolutely jacked. Benched the same same reps as Joe Alt with 27, which was crazy impressive. As you would imagine, really good at running through contact. He always keeps his legs churning and fights for extra yards. He has really good vision. That's the thing about Blake Corum, is he will find a gap in the defense, and he'll probably get you 4 yards. He's explosive enough in the short area. Doesn't have the long speed. It's only okay.
The thing with him, right, is his 40 time wasn't great, but you saw they did the side by side thing of them doing the running back drills, and he was just ahead of everybody. Like, he was really quick when they were doing the drills, but his 40 time just wasn't great. But who was he going up against? I think it might have been Bucky Irving, and he was just blew him out of the water in the cut drill.
Yeah, the next note I have is literally cuts really well and is quick. So look at that. But Blake Corum, tons of college production, very good goal line back. Some would call him a goal line merchant, but hey, you score tutties. But
when you score 24 of them,
yeah.
you're fucking good at it.
Yeah. But I think Blake Corum is a very good player, and just especially as a number 2 to Rashad White, to take some of those inside carries from him.
To make your RB, yards per carry, look just decent.
Yeah, because exactly.
I had him in fantasy this year. Really fun player, but I would see like, fuck, he could have gone a lot more. And then I see, 25 carries for 70 yards. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay, here at pick 90, the Arizona Cardinals, they're going to take a guy that has a lot of potential. I'm taking Troy Franklin out of Oregon. 6'3", 187, really skinny, but he did produce a ton at Oregon. And the reason he's fallen is his drop issue. Like, what was it, 10%? I think
it might be even 12.
It might have been 12.
Like
it's a definite issue. He has great speed off the ball. He's really good speed.
He also
out in
really
space.
doesn't have great speed. He ran like 4.4. Was it 1 or 7? Because 4.41 is fast.
Well, see, when
I
you
forget which,
play that game, like, on film, he looks better.
That's
you play
true,
the same
that's
game
true.
with Keon.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
he's
I
good
know.
speed on film.
But, like, for 187, like, I expect him to be faster.
Yeah, you want him to fly.
There.
He has nice route running. It's nothing, like, to note. And he also didn't really have a complete route tree. He kind of just ran a lot of screens, which isn't a route. And then he ran a lot of posts. And then he kind of ran a couple of ins. Like, but obviously that could just be the Oregon offense fucking him over with how many routes he ran. He does have a ton of different releases, which I do like. It's not repetitive. Like, he usually gets off the line pretty cleanly. He's a really good deep threat. Good blocking downfield. He's a skinny fuck. When you're 2 inches taller than Xavier Worthy, but you're only around 20 pounds heavier, that's a bit of an issue when you look at it. Like I said, okay hands. I didn't see a ton of drops, but they happened. Like, if you don't see drops, it can be one thing, but when it's like 12%, that's a bit of an issue. He gets the feed in. My big thing is he still put up around 1,400 yards in a screen/run heavy offense, which is really impressive. But overall, I like Troy Franklin. He's definitely fallen very far for me. I think I have him at 13 right now, but he's probably going to move down towards like wide receiver 14, 15. Like, he's going to move down a couple pegs here. But I think he's a good like developmental guy. He'll be a good guy. He'll be what will he be? It's Marv, Michael Wilson. He'll be a 3 there for Arizona, and I think that's where he can succeed. You can play him in the slot a good amount of times too, but Troy Franklin, he's a good player. It's just kind of sad to see how far he's fallen.
Pick 91, we got the Packers. I'm going to take Jeremiah Trotter Jr. from Clemson.
Why'd you use his full legal name?
Huh?
Jeremiah? I thought it was Jermaine.
No.
Oh.
That's racist.
I thought it was...
It's Jeremiah.
I swear I said Jermaine. I just said Jermaine.
No, that's his name.
Jeremiah. I knew a Jeremiah once.
Yeah. So, 6 foot, 230. He's very good at just kind of sneaking by blockers and backdooring there. I think he does a good job of just getting by him quickly. He's a pretty good athlete. He moves pretty well. His dad was an NFL linebacker. You can kind of... I would say it shows up where he kind of just knows what he's doing. He's a pretty solid athlete, good run and chase guy. You can use him as a blitzer and a spy if you want to. He's athletic enough to do it. I don't think he's like a great blitzer or anything, but I think he's fine enough in that role. He did overrun a few plays. He batted like 3 passes down.
No, Trenton Simpson.
No, it wasn't like...
Fuck, oh God, no.
He's getting flashbacks. When I say a few plays, I mean like 4.
Okay.
Like, it was not every play, like Trenton Simpson, because that was horrible. But he batted down like 3 passes, which is big time, especially for a linebacker. He lined up at edge a lot as well, which I didn't...
Oh, God, Trenton Simpson, fuck.
But I didn't love that just because I don't think he's a great blitzer, and he was very solid in coverage, unlike Trenton Simpson. So I kind of just want him to be a run and chase cover guy instead of doing some of the like Leo Chenal blitz stuff that I don't really think he's very good at. But I think he's good in that role, and they cut Devondre Campbell. They definitely need some more linebacker help. I think Trotter's your guy. I think this is a good spot to get him because he's kind of the last of the linebackers that I really like. I have some problems with Edgerrin Cooper, and I've only watched 5 of them, and he's the one I don't have a problem with here. So I think he's a solid player, and I think he can help the.
Okay, here at pick 92. Kind of like, we're getting into the spots where, because we've watched, I'm at 99, you're at 115, but the thing is, it's just like, all the players aren't good.
Yeah, a lot of guys, like I'm at 115, but there's a lot of them that I don't.
And then there's a lot of running backs, so.
Yes. I
But,
have some guys, though, that I'm like geared up here, ready to take.
but here, you're just getting, I think, just a good to just okay prospect here. I'm going to take Jonah Ellis. He's quick off the ball, good acceleration to the line of scrimmage. He has a bag of pass rush moves. He uses a Euro step to get to the outside, which is cool. Has a rip, has a really good inside move as a counter. He has solid length, nothing crazy. He gets to the QB with the ball rush against weaker tackles, and I highlight weaker tackles because against bigger, stronger tackles, he does struggle. His lateral movement is ass. Average bend, not great. Pad level and lower body are subpar. Like, he's just overall, like, he's, like, okay. Like, there's some highlights there. Like, he's got a lot of pass rush moves. Everything else kind of sucks. But, you know, his lower pad level and lower body hinders his ability to set the edge in the run game. And then I just found this out, like, recently. He does have an injury history, which isn't great from an already, like, average, bendy, like, non-freak of a athlete. Like, if they're a freak athlete and they've dealt with, like, injuries, you're, like, banking on, like, they're fine. But him already not having, like, the greatest athleticism and him having average bend with the injury history isn't great. But I think he's just a good player, good prospect that you just take here in the third round and you hope he shows some upside there just to be a good player in your system.
Pick 93, we got the Baltimore Ravens. And after they just traded away Morgan Moses, I'm going to go tackle here. And I'm going to take Jeremy Flax from Kentucky. I wanted to take him a while ago, but there just really wasn't a spot for him. But he's 6'5", 360. He's a big boy. He's got a mean streak to him like a lot of these other guys. As you would imagine, that size, his anchor's very good. He had a couple awesome trap techs, too, just using that length and just snatching the hands away, put him in the dirt, something I love to see. He did miss a couple stunts. That was some of the first few plays that I saw. Then he came back and picked up a few more beautifully, so I'm not really worried about that. He does a good job keeping his hands inside. He's got a heavy punch with that frame, as you guys would imagine. He had one very nice pull. He's a very good down blocker. That's definitely the best part of his run blocking ability, so I like him in a gap scheme there. Good run blocker overall. Being that big, he's not that good out in space, as you would imagine. It's kind of like he's the Dawad Jones build, and Dawad's was definitely way better and just more athletic than him, but he has a tough time getting to the second level with some of the linebackers sometimes.
Listen, don't shit on the big man if he can't move.
No, that's what I'm saying, though, is that's why, zone scheme, maybe not, but in a gap scheme like the Ravens, we're feeling good and we're chilling there. He handles speed to the outside pretty well, just because his length is so good and he has enough foot speed to get out there. He does a good job finishing his blocks. He has solid hand usage. He does work combo blocks well. It's just after that sometimes struggles to get to the second level a little bit. And I saw a couple plays where his feet kind of clicked together and they just got way too close, which is not something you want, but that's just a very minor technical mistake that happened a couple times that a coach just has to tell you not to do and then you won't do it. So I think Jeremy Flax is a good player. I think he should have been gone a while ago, and I think he's a very good scheme fit in Baltimore.
Okay, here at pick 94 for the San Francisco 49ers. I'm taking running back Cody Schrader out of Mizzou, the SEC leading rusher this year. I know most people want a corner here. I just don't like enough. It's between Melton and Dwight McLaughlin, who had a good PFF grade, but none of them scream third-round pick, and I like Cody Schrader because Elijah Mitchell's his contract's going to be up very soon. Great power, finds the holes. He's not afraid of contact. Amazing burst. Like I said, led the SEC in rushing. Funny thing is, almost a hilarious stat was Jaden Daniels was second against
nice.
By the Arkansas game. I don't know who ended up finishing with more, either 2 or 3, but
He had like
Schrader.
1,200.
Yeah,
right?
no,
So,
it was,
like,
it was
yeah.
hilarious to see him up there. I was like, I'm pretty sure I sent a picture in the group chat. I was like, this is fucking insane. Great patience, can handle a huge workload, which is positive and negative, which he definitely has some age on him at this point, but it's great story. I'm pretty sure he's a D2 guy.
I was going to say walk on.
Yeah,
So,
he was
yeah,
a
I don't
walk-on.
think there's too much tread on the
But-
tires there.
But the last 2 seasons, he's been
Yeah.
30 carries a game. Like, he's been that guy. Doesn't have home run speed, but he has good enough speed. Runs through arm tackles. You have to put your shoulder into his gut. If you try to arm tackle him, see ya. It just ain't working. Breaks tackles, hits the hole hard, cuts really well. He keeps his feet moving. He has great acceleration. I really like Schrader. I think he's going to be a great NFL back. Depending on what system he goes into. Obviously, he's not going to get a lot of carries here, but he'll be like the good third down guy for Christian McCaffrey. You know, you don't like to bring it up, but he does have an injury history. CMC does, and I think he'd be a good replacement if, worst case scenario, he goes down for a little bit. But overall, Schrader's a really good running back. I love him. He's my guy. So yeah, I think I really do like him. I think he could go a lot earlier than this.
Pick 95, we got the Chiefs on the clock. Last pick here before the comp picks. But I'm going to take Cam Kitchens, the safety from Miami here. Bit of a fall for him. He had a really bad combine that kind of sold him, but just because I think he ran 4.6 or something. He's 6 foot 205, which is not ideal, but I kind of see him as a box safety anyways. So, and that's kind of what I would be asking him to play in Spags defense in Kansas City here. He's a very physical tackler. He can blitz off the edge. He does take some shitty angles tackling sometimes, but he is physical. I think he's a versatile enough player, and I say that I don't think he can play like center field safety or anything, but I think he can definitely cover running backs and tight ends. He can absolutely fly downhill from the box. He can blitz off the edge, and he also has really good ball skills. He does a good job of just staying hip to hip in coverage and breaking on the ball. Overall, I think Cam Kitchens is just a solid player, and if he's just Kansas City's box safety, they have got Justin Reed can definitely play some box, but he has more range than Kitchens does, and Brian Cook is somebody who's a center field guy. So I think maybe not a starter immediately, maybe he is eventually, but there's absolutely a role in this defense that Cam Kitchens can play and be good at it. You lost Willie Gay, maybe you can play some sub linebacker with him in there. I think Cam Kitchens is a good player. I think he fits the defense well in Kansas City, and I like the scheme fit, and I like the pick here.
Okay, here at 96 for Jacksonville, I'm going to take Tez Walker out of UNC. Really big fall from grace, as he was a guy in consideration with that wide receiver 5 to 9, I would say, because any of those guys in that 5 to 9 range I see as a wide receiver 1 in the NFL. Honestly, maybe go to 10, but he was within consideration for any one of those spots, and then he had a bad Senior Bowl and he just kind of fell. He has great speed. He's a deep threat. He has soft hands. He tracks the ball pretty well, breaks some tackles. He has a great release, but let's get into the negatives with him. His hands, he bricks a lot of balls. He has like concrete for hands. He'll make a great catch. Like, he burnt Nate Wiggins, which, you know, could tell you one thing, like, oh, he has potential, or could tell you a lot of things about Nate Wiggins.
I was going to say, I think that says more about Nate Wiggins than it does about Tez Walker.
He has a lot of potential. Like, he really does. Like, the potential on him is great. He rounds a lot of routes, which I don't like to see. It gives an opportunity for either the safety to come down or the cornerback to get inside of you and just cause you to lose your yards of separation that you gained. So I don't like to see that. He doesn't run crisp routes. At this point, he's just a deep threat, which for Jacksonville, to be able to develop him, stick him in as honestly your 5 at this point, because I love Parker Washington last year, and he showed out at the end of last year.
Yeah.
So I think Parker Washington's going to have a bigger role, which I'd love to see. But he can be a screen or end-around type guy, jet sweep. That's what he got involved in at UNC. But right now, he's just kind of a deep threat, which is fine for Jacksonville just to have a burner there. And hopefully you can develop him. He's the first really raw wide receiver prospect I've really ever watched, because I think he can be really good if you develop him. But if you don't, it's going to be a shit show. But I do like Tez Walker. I don't like that he's fallen this far, but it's just kind of what it is after the Senior Bowl, and I don't even know if he ran with the Combine, to be honest. If he did, he didn't help himself out. But overall, he's a good player. He's a good 4 or 5 receiver for the Jags.
Pick 97, Cincinnati Bengals here. I'm going to take Dwayne Carter from Duke. He's 6', 310. I don't know. I think he could maybe turn into a nose eventually. I do think he's probably a 3-tech, though, for them. The thing with him is just power on power. I mean, some of the Senior Bowl reps were wild. He had, like, the highlight splash reps just because of the power, but overall, like, there was definitely some reps where he really didn't do anything. He's very inconsistent against the run. There's like a lot of reps where he's very good, and then there's a few like getting washed by double teams, even one-on-one, kind of just doesn't know where the ball is, getting washed down. Really good bull rush though, and especially when you leave him on one-on-one, he can crunch the pocket. He can stack and shed and chase down the line. With him, it's just consistency. Like, there's so many splash plays that make me want to put him at, like, D-tackle 5. But then I see a lot of stuff that kind of brings him down. I do think he's better than where he's getting drafted here. But just a lot of guys kind of went over him. And he needs to improve his hand usage. I think it is, for the most part, solid. But there are definitely reps, like I said, where maybe he's doubled or even just one-on-one where he kind of just gets shut down because the bull rush doesn't work. Then he'll maybe try a rip or a swim. And sometimes it works because I do think he has a nice swim. But he doesn't really have anything other than those moves. He definitely needs to get some counter moves. Maybe like a spin off that or another way to just get inside and keep his gap. But overall, I do think he has some nice upside and a good enough floor as a pocket crusher. And if you can fix some of the inconsistencies in the run D, he should be a solid run defender who can crunch the pocket immediately and be a rotational D tackle for them immediately. So I think it's a good pick. I think there's definitely a lot of room for growth with Carter, and I think he could definitely turn into a very good, another, like a solid number 2 to BJ Hill for them.
Okay, here at pick 98 for the Steelers, I'm going to take Edge Cooper out of Texas A&M. 6'3", 230. Does a really good job at filling holes. He's a very inconsistent tackler, but he does a good job getting pressure. He blitzes well, which is why I'm taking him here, because you signed Patrick Queen, who kind of is a coverage guy, run and go. He can get some pressure, but not like Edge Cooper, who does need to develop tackling wise. He needs a Coach Bo's tackling circuit. He covers a lot in the flats. He's very athletic, covers really well. When I mean covers well, I mean does his job. They don't ask him to do much in coverage. I think the furthest they'll have him go is a hook to curl. That's about it. But he has great pursuit speed. He's a really good athlete. That's like the big thing with him is he's a good athlete, like a really good athlete. Gets into the backfield consistently. He gets TFL and short gain tackles a lot, but he'd have a lot more if he'd learn how to fucking rap. Like he'd have a lot of those short yard tackles if he just learned how to rap. And I think he has a really good upside here. Going to Pittsburgh, who's all about tackling, they'll make sure he knows how to tackle if he goes there. But overall, I do like Edgerrin Cooper here as a good value pick.
All right, pick 99, last pick of the draft here. We got the LA Rams. I'm gonna go tackle here. This might honestly be your starting left tackle just because they don't really have anybody there. But I'm gonna take Ladarius Henderson from Michigan. He's 6'4", 315. He's got 35-inch arms, which you love to see there. He's got an awesome punch. He's a very good down blocker. Overall, he is a good run blocker. He's got a good anchor. He did lunge a couple times. And the thing with him is his foot speed is only okay. He definitely, I wouldn't say he's stiff, but he definitely does lose, or I wouldn't say he loses to the outside because he uses his length to make up for that, but sometimes he oversets and then they hit him with an inside spin and then he looks like an idiot. That happened a couple of times. And he got beat by JT Tuimoloau with speed rushes a couple times, but I'm very excited for JT next year. I think he's a very good player, but he's a solid puller. He does a good job getting to the second level. Part of that just very good Michigan offensive line. He handled the couple stunts he faced pretty well. He let guys get into his chest a little bit too much. That was one of the main negatives I saw with him. I definitely want him to clean that up. And he was laid off the ball a couple times, but overall his jump was good. I think he's the last tackle in my somewhat ready to play tier. He's my tackle 11, one spot above Guyton. Guyton went a while ago, and I'm totally okay with that just because of the elite physical tools he has. But I think Henderson is pretty solid right now. There's definitely some things to clean up. Nowhere near as athletic, but much more technically sound right now. He has great arm length. Is he ever going to be an elite tackle like Tyler Guyton maybe could be? No. He's got the arm length to be good. I think he's got the punch. He's got the anchor. He's got all the stuff that I look for that just makes you a solid, dependable, starting caliber O-lineman. He kind of has all of that. Maybe the foot speed, never improves, and he'll lose on an inside spin sometimes. But overall, I think he will be a solid player and can definitely be a good starting left tackle for the Rams here. And I'm totally cool taking that in the 3rd round. I think he's going to be a good player. This whole Michigan O-line, I'm halfway through and they can all play. But yeah, that's the last pick of the draft.
And the nightmare is over. This 3-round massive fucking
Well, you still
draft.
gotta edit. You're not even close to
Joe,
done.
no,
I'm
I'm not. You're done.
Yeah.
You're done till maybe there's another month.
Whenever
Who knows?
we do it, yeah.
Hopefully it's maybe like a week before the draft or something.
Yeah,
You can do
that sounds
a
good.
Zoom one, and I'll get all that done. But yeah. If it's the last one, if this is the last, it's been a good mock season. I'm gonna be still pumping out the other videos like the Caleb and the Drake Mays.
I can do some position ranking stuff too.
So we'll it's not the end of draft season for us, but it might be the end of this mock draft. But I'm hoping we at least get a 1st rounder in there at the end. I think we'll just do another 2-rounder, kind of do it all in one go because
get the thoughts in order.
Get the last thoughts in before the draft. But yeah, see ya.